let's call to order this meeting of the Lewis and Clark County Commission here at the Lincoln Government Day. Welcome to you all. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, you may be noticing that our head jokester, the sheriff, is not here. We have it on good authority. There's bad stuff going on in Wolf Creek, so we'll do it without him. I am, for the record, I am Candace Payne. I'm the chair of the county commission this year. To my left is Tom Rolfe, also a county commissioner, and to my right is Andy Hunthausen. You know, we should actually flip that because he's right and you're like, oh no, had to do with politics. You know. And then our friend Roger Balls, who is the chief administrative officer for Lewis and Clark County, and Audra Zackrell. She is the next in order of power under Jenny Chambers, who isn't here. But Audra, she's got the control stick. She'll do it. And then we also have Dan Flynn, who is the engineer. I don't think that means he blows the whistle. I think it has to do with his educational background. Also of note is Jim Yarborough with the Forest Service, and Zach Muse, head of the Community Council, and Jolene Jennings. You better stand up. I don't think they've seen you before. She is with the health department, and she's going to give us some little updates about what they've got going. All right. So that was the introductions. If we had a sheriff's report, this is where it would be put. We don't have a sheriff's report, right? All right. Community council reports. Any community council reports? Careful. Sounded like it.
A lot of it, again, is, you know, a lot of these meetings we have are public works, so I will let Audrey take care of that part. Are you going to talk about the grant? Okay, I'll let you deal with that. There is a possible tourism grant. Basically, it all stems from the Main Street thing and improving the safety. Everything from crosswalks to traffic calming, things like that. So it's just always been a push for the community council to try to slow things down on Main Street by the school all the way through. We have over the years gotten quite a few things done. Moved speed limits out. Changed crosswalk here, put in a push button for the kids. The no passing zone moved out from town to the airport. And then also on this end, going from all the way out to, I think, the 70, so just past the ambulance. Before it was, passing zone was right by the ambulance clinic driveway, and people were passing, and a lot of traffic goes in and out of there. So we did get that moved out. We've explored lots of options. Oh, the other one was the speed radar sign. People are going to speed. It's, 70% of the people, 70% of the time do what's right. The other ones, I don't care what you do, they're going to speed. But the biggest thing that you can do is traffic calming. And unfortunately, because of how Lincoln is situated on the highway, the snow and the plowing and all that, it makes it tough to put medians out here, you know, to try and move traffic around a little bit. That helps slow them down, and you'll see it in Helena and Missoula and everywhere where they put, you know, a little turn with the concrete medians on it, so it helps slow people down. It's tough to do here. So anyways, we're still trying to figure out ways. One grant is, Audrey will talk about. Another one is a tourism grant. Roger Day's kind of pushing on that to, you have to have a board. So I think he's finally got 7 or 9 people to serve on this committee. There's money available, so they're gonna keep working on that, come up with ideas, maybe some lighting in certain areas, it just depends. Stay tuned on that one. Really, that's about it. That is not Public Works. Lincoln Prosperity Proposal, we added it to our agenda. It's still kind of moving along. We have a few roadblocks, but we're still having meetings and working with, landowners and whatnot, so stay tuned on that one. And that's about it. Putt this weekend, so it's gonna be busy and wild, and it's gonna be hot, so people will be out, so just be careful driving down Main Street.
Thank you, Zach. Any questions? Commissioners, any questions, comments? Thanks for what you do, Zach.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a Forest Service report, and our friend Jim Yarborough is here. Morning, Jim.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Jim Yarborough, Lincoln District Manager. We have a couple things going on. We're opening gates and closing gates, seasonal closures, and openings around the district right now. We are starting categorical exclusion for fuels work behind Lincoln Springs. This is a 3,000 acre fire resiliency CE that we're using. It's the emergency authority, and we've been ordered by the secretary and the chief to utilize that authority, or that, it's authority designated by Congress. And
Would you tell me again what the name of this? You talk fast.
Lincoln Springs,
Okay, but what was the something category?
it's a categorical exclusion,
Okay,
and it's the fire resiliency CE.
okay, thank you.
And it allows us to treat up to 3,000 acres. We have a 6,000 acre polygon drawn up there behind Lincoln Springs and to the north of Lincoln Springs. Not all of it will be treated, obviously. So we have our few people out there looking at it. It's going to be a good neighbor authority with the state, with the NRC, and they will be doing the NEPA for us because we are short people. So,
Why is that?
I don't know. So they're helping out, they're pitching in and helping out.
Good.
We're out there looking at it, doing some preliminary groundwork so that we can dish it off to them, hand it off to the state, and tell them exactly what we think we have and what we need to do in the NEPA process to stay within the sideboards of the forest plan and the law, essentially. And then what we can treat and get out of there. We're going to use all forms of treatment that are available to us that will work. We don't know what those treatments will be yet, but logging is one of them, and fuels work, hand piling, and burning. So we need to get fire on the ground out there and get that fuel out under our circumstances, not Mother Nature's. So that's the idea.
Good thought.
So that's where we're headed with it. We're starting now. The state gets their budget, obviously, July 1st, and at that point, we'll sit down with the state and start working through what the expectations are for NEPA. They're well aware it's coming. So that's first on the plate today for me. The second thing is you're going to start seeing some smoke in the air in about an hour and a half outside of Bowling Creek. Black Diamond proper is where it'll be. It's the burn unit's about 520 some acres. We're not going to burn all 520 some acres. We're going to stay a little bit to the east because of an active timber sale close to the other burn unit. And we don't want to get anywhere near that. Right? So we're staying away from it. But we want to get that taken care of. We'll black line the top and then slowly backfire down the mountain and just let it do its thing without pushing hard on it. So you'll see flames and smoke today and tomorrow. There'll be some single tree torching and group tree torching. Tomorrow, it's going to be warmer and a little bit drier and a little bit windier, so we do expect to see some flare-ups tomorrow. It's all well within the burn unit and well within the NEPA model. So, and hopefully some rain tomorrow night, right, to help things out.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you for now.
Tom, any questions for him?
Nope.
Andy, any questions? Do I have to do public comment on this?
I'm gonna go back on kind of tying with what he has.
You can if you come up and say your name. Thank you, Jim.
So we put the fire danger signs at low right now. It's low on average, but it's dry out there. So keep that in mind if you're doing any burning, you know anyone doing any burning, make sure they do have a burn permit and activate it. But with the wind, it can take off. I mean, the ground can be wet, there's so much dead grass and brush out there, it'll take off and run. So please just be careful with that. And even a little fire can turn big, and if it's your fire, you're responsible for the cost. So just keep that in mind.
Tying in with what Zach said, the overnight recovery rates are low right now. They're not real high, right? So by now, these fuels he's talking about will catch and they will go. There's no doubt. All the way up to the 100-hour fuels. Down here in the valley bottom, even some of the 1,000-hour fuels will take. So it's drying out. Next week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, things will start to get a little more moist, but it's after that, it's warm and dry again. So. Yeah.
Before we get to the question, 1 hour fuels of your grass takes 1 hour for it to clear out after a rain in the sun. 10-hour fuels, you're a little bit thicker, brushy stuff. 10-hour fuels, even a little thicker. Your 100-hour fuels, 1,000-hour fuels are getting into your logs and your big trees are your 1,000 hours that are laying on the ground. And those take a lot longer, 1,000 hours to dry out, but we've been in a drought and we are in the bullseye from Rogers Pass all the way down to Plaza. We are in the bullseye for severe drought right here. So the snow we got this year was better than last year, but by far short of what we need, because we need extra snow this year to make up for last year, because all those 1,000-hour fuels are not getting moisture. So they will burn, and they will burn fast and hot. So keep that in mind. We're in a severe drought. So burning's probably going to come to a close a little earlier this year because of it. If we don't start getting some rain, and it's not, we get Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, I think we're supposed to get a bunch on this end of the valley, but subject to change. And if we don't continue to get it, the rain we got earlier this week did nothing. It was gone 10 minutes later because of the wind. So we are in a bad drought.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Jim. Public health. Here we go, Jim. You get to do the public health?
I think I'm down on number 8. Do you want me to go down?
Oh! I was trying to not have to do these guys. Public Works. It's a good thing thanks for keeping me in line, people. Audra.
Thank you.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Good morning, I'm Audra Sackrell. I'm the Assistant Director of Public Works. I'm here today for Jenny Chambers, who's off. And I have several updates for you. The first is from our road and bridge divisions and signs. Under signs, all the school signs have been upgraded to a high-intensity prismatic signage. Numerous road signs have been installed, and a lot of signs that were missing or hit, they've replaced. Some stop signs have been upgraded with additional ones, and more will follow. So, if you have any questions about that, let me know. Our bridge division is replacing the bridge deck on North Beaver Creek. They're still working on the detour details and work schedules for the replacement. They have procured the decking materials, and the work will actually take place about midsummer. Our road division is still recruiting for the vacant position that Ron McDunn left, and they've received several applications, and they're scoring them right now, and then they'll schedule interviews, and hopefully we'll find somebody from this next batch of people. The road department is working on sweeping, patching, and grading. They've been sweeping in Helena this past month, and they're going to move along to RIDs here soon, and then once they have the Helena area complete, they're going to move into Lincoln and the Augusta areas. They anticipate that'll be about May, June timeframe for here in Lincoln. Patching, Kenny has been asked to create a patching list for Lincoln, and then we'll pick a nice day and we'll send a patching crew up here and knock out that list. The potholes, all the potholes. And for grading, that's ongoing, and they had a really good start considering the weather this past month. So, are there any questions on roads and signs before I move on to my next report? Bridges? Okay. Misty Edwards is in charge of the Lincoln Solid Waste District for the county. She's kind of coordinates things for the Solid Waste District, and she asked me to give a quick update on what the Lincoln Solid Waste Board decided on April 22nd at their last meeting. The board voted to recommend that the operations of the Lincoln transfer site be changed from contracted services to the county landfill, providing the hauling. The change means that the assessment for the fiscal year 26 will remain the same. Final details of the change in operations are being worked out. So in addition to this operational change, the board also voted to implement a couple new fees. The first is a construction and demolition fee. Permit holders will continue to be allowed to dispose of loads less than 2 cubic yards for small renovations with their permit. However, the new fee will apply to all C&D loads over and above 2 yards, and that fee is $15. How did she put it? $15 per cubic yard. Examples of C&D materials include cabinets, carpet, padding, roofing materials, windows, doors, concrete and cinder blocks, and insulation. Anything that's kind of dry that won't, like no paints and that kind of thing, no liquids. The other fees will be for furniture and bulky items, such as mattresses and box springs, and that'll be $7 each. So if you bring in a mattress and a box spring, that's $14. And couches and sofas will be $10 each. So, are there any questions on the Lincoln Solid Waste District operations or the new fees?
Yeah. I'm Don Francona. I noticed that they also decided, well, I'm not sure if they is the board or if it's the Republic itself, but where they're no longer taking aluminum cans. If you bring aluminum cans can be taken out to the metal section along with tin cans, anything else that's metal. But in terms of a dedicated container up by the main area, it is no longer.
They're not allowing you to bring them in?
They're just not any container.
They're not recycling them anymore, basically.
That's right, they're not recycling anymore. Just a comment in case anybody didn't know.
Don't take your bag out there and then have to take them home again.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Rick Foreman on the community council also, but I heard that they're charging for yard debris, pine needles, wood, branches. They're charging a fee for that too?
Have been for a year.
Yeah, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So that may not be a new fee.
That's not a new fee, all right.
So, Zach, what happens to our pickup and all that? Republic's still doing that?
At this time, we don't know what's happening with the pickup service, but we are looking at a backup plan in case they decide they don't want to provide that service any longer.
Yeah, that's what happened with the cans. The cost of removing those cans out of Lincoln's Great Falls was prohibitive.
That doesn't surprise me. Anybody else on solid waste? Okay. My next two things are short and sweet. Jenny wanted me to let you know that the Lincoln Senior Center drinking water system improvements is complete. They've added an automatic chlorination system upgrade and technology so that it can be tested daily and remotely checked for those results. So that's a really nice feature. We don't have to send our employees up to check that. Cooper Park also added the automated monitoring system to their public water supply system. So, and seasonal startup on Cooper Park for the water will be in first part of this month. Any questions on either of those items? I'm going to turn it over to Dan Carlin, our county engineer. He's going to give an update on the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant that Zach alluded to earlier. Dan?
Thank you, Rhonda. For the record, Dan Garland, County Engineer. So, as Zach mentioned, Rhonda mentioned, we've been looking at the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. It is a grant opportunity for acquiring a development of a safety action plan and a demonstration project funding. This community's focuses on Highway 200, obviously. However, everyone knows that NDT's jurisdiction is Highway 200, so there's some complications there. We are evaluating the notice of funding opportunity, so when you get one of those notices, there's a lot of requirements in there, a lot of requirements you have to hit. So we're looking at that. We're trying to see if maybe it would be possible to develop a safety action plans for all corridors outside the Greater Helena Metropolitan Planning Organization. And focus supplemental planning on some higher level priority areas. The NPO, which is comprised of City of Helena, City of East Helena, Montana Department of Transportation, and the county. We will be getting a plan completed as part of our long-range transportation plan. So with these SS4A grants, you have to have what's called a safety action plan, which I mentioned before you can actually get funding to implement a project. The NPO, I mentioned, is new, and part of that, we're developing a safety action plan for that entire area. But outside of that area, the remainder of the county, we have to have a safety action plan to go get implementation grants of that nature for this kind of area, Augusta, Wolf Creek, those kind of things. So the idea is we'd like to develop a kind of a global safety action plan that can apply to everyone, so that we can go after specific grants for targeted communities. So we have had several meetings with Karen Good from the area and Kara Mapplethorpe, who's from the Heart of the Rocks Initiative. In addition, we've also been having council meetings. At the meeting on April 23rd. Is that maybe council 23rd?
Yeah, third Tuesday.
There was an open discussion regarding risk, jurisdictional challenges, capacity and priority of projects, and grant match requirements. The county staff are going to meet internally and kind of go over those in a little more detail, kind of see how we can move forward on those. Any questions? All right. I think that's all we have.
Any questions, commissioners?
No, thanks.
Never a dull moment, huh? We don't have any big bridge projects here in this.
Not in Lincoln.
Okay, that's,
The auditor mentioned the Lower Beaver Creek
Yeah,
decking
okay.
project. That's going to be hopefully not very disruptive.
okay, and that was my question. Is that gonna be as disruptive as
Not even close.
last year's?
It's a redecking, so all the substructure is in place. We're going to widen it a little bit, get a redeck the thing, add some stringers to raise the load rating a little bit. But it is kind of a single access point, so working through the detour is kind of a hang up we're working through right now.
But I'm sure you'll do a good job.
Always.
Do the best they can. Okay, thank you, Dan. Now, go for it. It's our public health report from Jolene Jennings.
Thank you, Chair, and members. Jolene Jennings, Behavioral Health Systems Improvement Specialist at the County Public Health. And I've been with the County Public Health for going on 5 years. And so I was asked to talk about the crisis now model, which is what we've been working to implement for the past 5 years. It's a national best practice model. So there's a person to call for behavioral health crisis, which we know in Montana is 988, the three-digit number for suicide prevention and mental health crisis lifeline. The second pillar is a mobile crisis response team, which
a lot of people refer to as the acronym MCRT, and that is person to respond, typically on scene, and majority of the time it's somebody's home. So it prevents them from having to take that extra layer going to the emergency room or having a law enforcement respond solo. And the other piece is the crisis facility. So that would be a place for somebody to go specifically for behavioral health services and treatment. So in an ER, sometimes you don't always get that specialist. They are not available for a while, or you're waiting for up to 8 to 10 hours, which has happened sometimes in our ER. And so this is a place that you can go and you have somebody who's a behavioral health specialist waiting for you. So that is, we have the first 2 pillars in the county already. So anybody can call 988, a 3-digit suicide prevention and mental health crisis lifeline, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no insurance required, anonymous, for you to talk to a crisis counselor to help de-escalate and refer you to where you need to be. And if that was escalated and not being able to be de-escalated and you needed to have somebody see you, common response to suicide ideation, any kind of crisis, behavioral health crisis, they would arrange for 911 and MCRT to come out. So it's in Montana, we do it as a co-response model with 911 and so law enforcement and our mobile crisis response team. Because we have such a high gun ownership in our state, we thought use that as a best practice model instead of the mobile crisis response team going solo. They both go out or called by law enforcement to go out. And so they're specialists, behavioral health specialists with mobile crisis response team who can do a mental health assessment on scene and then help to de-escalate and allow you to be able to remain in the home to make sure that obviously you have to have be de-escalated and have maybe a safety plan in place. But they also do sometimes have to refer somebody to the emergency room or have an ambulance come in. And so those are that's what's happening now in our county. Obviously, they're located in Allen at St. Peter's Health, which is a little too far from you guys here. But I'm sure that our plan is to have the mobile crisis response team, some enhancement expansion to be able to reach farther out. I'll get into that in a minute, but and then the last piece of it is the crisis facility, which maybe some of you know is Journey Home we had in Helena for behavioral crisis facility for stabilization in the past, and so we've been working to reopen that, and it is not an easy task with sustainable funding always being a little out of reach, and then also to have 24/7 professional staff to cover that. And so we have gotten Many River Soul Health, formerly Center for Mental Health, as the provider to they purchased the building, former Journey Home building, and then also been working with them for the past 2 years on what this is going to look like and to be able to operate and get a plan in place to be able to open this up. And so we're hopefully at the last leg, and this is going to be opening this year. With some new legislative decisions on funding, it looks like it's really going to be sustainable to be able to open that. So stay tuned on that. We're hoping for that to happen. And I just want to circle back around to the mobile crisis response team, which has been operating since November 2020 in our county. And so we know there's more ability to reach out. So we have gotten a grant from the Bureau of Justice Assistance to do the partnership with law enforcement and behavioral health for $500,000 to be working on. We did a year of planning, and now we're going to second and third year for program implementation. So the enhancement and expansion is to purchase a second mobile crisis response team to be able to have more than one response going to a different location. So we're working with Jefferson right now to be able to reach out within an hour drive there when we have the availability. And then also it would be great, obviously, to reach out farther north in the county. And so that's what's happening, what we're working on now. I would say, because I did bring an extra copy of our health assessment that was done, and there is reference to Lincoln in here too. But to just give you insight into what the key informants have said in the community, in addition to individuals. I actually was part of the Casper survey and went door to door and asked individuals for what they were experiencing for lack of access to services and what else they believed was needed in the community. And even if they knew about what 988 was, and many people didn't know. So it was really helpful to understand, and their information is in here too. Behavioral health, mental health is always at the top of our list. They're one of the areas, pillars that we've been working on for the past 9 years or so, whenever the assessment was done. And now we're working on the community health improvement plan, which we have completed in regards to sessions in the community for feedback and input to be able to say what we're going to measure and work towards over the next 3 years. So, any questions? I did provide some 988 materials over there, some new things that have come in from the state, which is a nice guide for you to help recognize signs of suicide ideation and some questions to ask an individual. There's always trainings around, but that's a nice tool to take with you. Recently, I just want to also add this piece in. Recently, there's a performances going around the state. It's called State of Mind. And University of Montana is going around to throughout the state to the counties, neighboring towns that are willing to be able to host them, to be able to provide a really different way to reach out to people by doing a community event with first youth in the schools, and then second with community providers and just community members on really a really interesting way to reach individuals, to make awareness of mental health, and how we can reach individuals, and then tell the stories of what are happening, and then you take away the stigma of what other people are feeling. And then to do this in your community on a regular basis yourself with your schools, your youth, and your providers. So, and I know there's probably not a lot of providers here, but there's obviously coalition work that's going on, the veterans. There's different groups you can work with. But I thought it was an amazing way to reach people in a different manner. And so I talked to the producer. He said he'd be willing to come up there to Lincoln. And also, if you want to talk with maybe your school leaders and then providers and coalition groups, they'd just reach out to them. They'd be happy to have an event here, which they stay for at least a day and a half. They do a presentation, a performance with the youth in the schools, and then they also do one in the community. It's usually up to about 50 people to make it really comfortable for everybody to talk and be part of and engage with. And then the next day they do a community event where people can come out and talk about what they're going to work on next. So I just leave some flyers out there, and I hope to be able to leave this at the schools here. And any questions?
I just want to piggyback off your statement there. Eric Gould, Veterans Association of Lincoln. We've already done suicide prevention. We have done the courses through the VA. So we actually have a reactionary team here in town now to help the veterans out. We have a registered nurse that's on staff thing. So we do have teams that myself and Mark Hawkins here, we've been to the VA's training course for 11 weeks. Due to the fact the reactionary team does not implement in Lincoln. And we've had last year we had a bad run, of suicides. And this year we've cut it way down due to the fact we do have in-home welfare checks. we do go to the houses of the veterans and stuff up here and make sure that where they're at and where they are mentally. If you haven't looked at the statistics, our largest group of suicides is not the young guys anymore. It's the 40 to 60-year-old veterans who no longer feel like they got purpose because the economy ran them over. You know, they're on fixed incomes. They don't have any means to get more money. And now the rent went from $400 to $1,300. That, you know, economic stress has put it on them, and they don't think there's a way to go. You know, so we started the association last year due to the suicides we had up here, that veterans need to help veterans. We need to have that peer-to-peer support, and over the last year, it has really grown up here, and we would love to have the county come on board too with what we're doing, because we're getting the support from the VA. They came up here, did the training for the school and members in the community. We had the first responders, we had the school council individuals, so the kids were there. The school counselor was there. I think it was 28 total. Yeah, 28 people in the community showed up for that suicide prevention course given by the VA. So just so you know, yeah, we are doing that implementation up here. And we really would like to have the county, you know, the response to come up and see what we're doing already and how we can merge that.
Sure,
Thank you.
I'll definitely bring that forward, and can I have, you know, your contact information, that'd be great. And just to connect, because we'd like to see even the mobile crisis response team, you know, come up and be more present and provide education on maybe other ways you can, you know, maybe they can't be here all the time, but, you know, you can always be able to ask them for best practice, and maybe you could come up with, like you said, you're responding already yourself. What else could you be doing, you know? So yeah, I think that would be great. I'm actually going to give you this for you to think about this yourself. This is another tool that you can bring to the community, and it sounds like you could be a great lead for that. Thank you. Anything else?
I believe Tom.
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to add a little something. I had a great conversation with some of the folks with NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness, and they said, despite all the controversy about what the legislature did, that they felt very optimistic with some of the things that were passed to provide funding for improvement of warm springs and facilities to help folks and to get them the mental health assistance they need, and again, helping to fund things like the Journey Home. So they said that in spite of all the other things that were controversial, that the legislature really made a big move in the right direction on mental health issues. So.
Yeah, I think they've done, you know, it's quite a few things, but some of it is short term, like a year out. So, I mean, it's a bump to get somebody started, then we still have to work on long term. But I do like the fact that they did approve emergency beds. So that could be in hospitals or in, for us, that would be in the crisis facility as a receiving and stabilization. Because we have already in the county is that Journey Home has 3 emergency beds, but it's a locked unit, and so that way somebody could come there either through law enforcement, or somebody that comes into the community that needs to have really a controlled environment that are going to hurt themselves. So that is there, but we don't have the staff yet. That's sort of like what I'm working with Many Rivers in the crisis facility community coalition group. We have a lot of great individuals that are coming there and ready to see this happen too. We want it, we need it. But, you know, Many Rivers is being very strategic in trying to get phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 3 would be the emergency beds. That was ideally the plan before they talked about doing this extra funding. So there might be not just phase 1 or opening for receiving 24/7 and then get somebody to the place they need to be, or have their de-escalated enough to go home. Is to also have this phase 2 would be the adding to the receiving would be stabilization, where somebody can stay in the facility for up to 14 days instead of going to the ER. And then the third phase was to be the emergency bed area to have enough staff to cover that for law enforcement to drop somebody off when they're fit the definition of who could be dropped off that wasn't a felony that was picked up for, but primarily behavioral health crisis, and then there might be some moving around with the priorities because of the funding that's been approved, as long as it's beyond the 1 year. Because that's what the providers want to see that are opening these facilities, want this to put this investments in there and have it be, we want to see at least 5 to 10 years, with funding, so this can be successful for everybody to count on it as an option for people to go to. But yeah.
Very good, good. Any more questions? Thank you, Jolene.
Thank you.
Well, we now come to the agenda point called Other Business. Anybody stand up, state your name.
I'm Mark Dawkins. I'm part of the Veteran Association here. We renamed the building Outpost Lincoln, and we do this out of our own pocket. We have no funding at all. We did do the suicide prevention, the SAVE program. We do have an isolated room where we have a gun safe. We can lock up the weapons if the person comes in and needs help. And we know we got about 600 vets here in the area. It's hard when we had a place called the VA because a lot of people don't want to go to the VA. So I've got people I see wearing uniforms, airborne, but I don't see them come down to see me. I need some information from you so we can help you later in life. We're doing a lot of stuff and we're going after some grants. We are constantly trying to improve the area here. Aluminum cans. I'm collecting aluminum cans for the youth athletic programming. 100% of it goes to them. I'll haul them in, get the money, bring it back, we'll give it to Julie at the bank. So we don't see nothing of it, but we're trying to help them. That's number one. Number two, with ourselves, American Legion, and DAV, we have groundbreaking across the street, May 26th at 1400 to walk the afternoon. We've got a lot of people coming to it. We're pushing for more, and we're just waiting on the people to respond back with the council, with the police department and the governor. And we've got the sheriff and undersheriff can be here. And this is a big thing that we have put together. Asking for funding to help on that. And we're just continually, we see a road with a lot of holes in it. So that's when we started this. We're both vets, we both have PTSD, we've been in combat, but we try to realize that where we're at, we need to help other people get to where we are, where we can help them control the environment they're in and make them where they feel they are useful and not just pushed aside. So we have it open. When we decided to change our umbrella is the Veteran Association. The Outpost Lincoln was designed where we have a green zone, which if you're in combat, you've ever been there, a green zone is a safe environment. You walk in the door, we don't talk politics. It's a safe area, come and have a cup of coffee, drink, whatever.
Where is Outpost Lincoln located in?
Right across from the community center,
Oh,
the old DD.
okay, thank you.
Come by, matter of fact, come down and see us after you leave the meeting. We'll show you what we're doing. We're working with Dr. Esther, which is in charge of all of the VA facilities in Montana. We met with him, and we are getting video conferencing here, telehealth. So we're doing a lot of stuff for no money. And it's kind of like hitting an artery, we're bleeding out. But this is all done out of our pocket. But we do see the end of the tunnel that it's gonna come. Because what we're doing, we can take this Outpost Lincoln, we can make this as a pilot program to go in other communities and do the same thing. So it's a vision that we have, and our main goal over the whole thing is to make Montana the first state in the union to be zero homeless vets. And we can do it. We can do it.
Wow, that is quite a goal.
And this man right here did 155 vets last made Helena 100% homeless, zero homeless
For veterans.
for veterans.
Wow, that's amazing. It's very impressive.
So we're moving forward, and any help anybody can give,
You mentioned that you're applying for grants,
we are.
and who do the grants go through? Is that through the,
Well, we're doing them ourselves, we're right.
Well, you know, state, county, federal, you know, of course, everybody knows the way the feds cut the money, we all, you
I
know,
know.
we're all on the whole pattern. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of shoved our timeline back into, you know, the September, the new cycle comes up. So we're waiting on NOLOs and everything to be issued and reissued out, you know, for the grants. We do know there's some state ones that are out now for mental health, homelessness, you know, and those type issues, which is what we specialize in. So we're trying to get those grants lined up. And, you know, a lot of it is credibility. That's why we work so hard with the VA, because the VA is backing us as one of their pilot programs, because if we change the format of clinical work to peer-to-peer, if you have veterans that have been there and know what it's like, and I go talk to you, you're going to talk to me, because you now realize I relate to what you're discussing. So it's not like you're talking to someone that doesn't know acronyms, military language, all that. They're talking peer-to-peer.
or all they have, they've got the book learning, but they don't have the,
Yeah, the personal. You know.
yeah, so,
You can have all the book if you want. You coming off a veteran, you'll know right away if you're not there.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll shut down and they won't relate to you at all. So then you don't develop the crisis management and case management you need to. But the follow up with the county, you know, public health thing is that you go through a crisis with a veteran and we get that situation handled. What's the long-term solution for that veteran? He's already showed in a pendency that he will commit suicide. So what's the long-term solution? Well, that's where we're coming in, you know, is to fill those potholes that
Okay.
you do have other veterans who've been there. We are not alone, you know, in a community.
one of the things about being the county commissioners is we deal with money. We can't tell it, you know, who gets hired or what, but we do become very familiar with what's the best way? We've got this lady named Ann, and she is an expert at grant writing. And is this something that we could have her, maybe through public health? Can we get Ann to help with these grants, or do you? I like to think outside the box.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You're more.
Andy, what do you think?
To your pain. I think there might be a number of opportunities to partner. So whether it's with public health and some of the projects and programs that are happening where you can enhance each other's activities. What I was thinking as you were speaking, you know, often when community organizations are applying for either state or federal grants, that the county can support that through a letter of recommendation, a letter of support for your grant. And so we're happy to consider that if you're applying for those grants. So you talked about using the VA to get credibility. You know, we can add to that potentially and say, hey, we support these guys too. They're doing great things in this community. And then beyond that, we do have a grant writer. She's supposed to be writing grants and working on getting grants for the county so that we can provide services out in the community. But often she will partner with local organizations to say, let me look at this, how can I help you enhance this? You know, is there a part I can give you suggestions about how to make this successful? There's a lot of people, as you're probably learning on the fly how to write grants and how to get it, you know, and sometimes it's by getting told no, that was not the application we were looking for. So when you talk to somebody with experience, often you can get good tips of the trade and have somebody look over your documents before you submit them. And give you, so a lot of times we'll help our partner organizations do those kinds of things. She typically probably will not write your grant for you unless it's going to come through the county. Sometimes we also have, there's grants out there that, hey, if the county applies on your behalf, the money goes through the county and to you from the feds or the state. We would surely consider that. So if you see one of those, we can look at that. But
So if they find something like that, are they going to call you, and then you can get them in touch with the right people?
they call any one of us and we can touch base with Ann and she can guide them and say, hey, this grant comes through the county, so we have to apply for it or be the applicant, but the money would be dedicated to come for your purpose.
Well, suicide prevention that we did have, we had the county staff here, and she wants to come back and do some more training.
Who was it?
I can't,
Oh, Lord.
I didn't write it
That, how
down.
long ago was that?
I'll just,
December.
yeah, January.
Rachel?
Suicide prevention person, probably.
Yeah, she might, it might be somebody for this,
Well, no, it was county, because you wanted to work with the Aaron, with the ambulance,
Well, Rachel Jeffries is the
Yes, that's it.
representative,
is it
yeah.
right?
Yeah, okay.
And she wants to get back down there, but we've just had, we're waiting to get the timing with the ambulance and the fire department, all the volunteers.
Yeah, it's the mental health, first aid.
Okay, she's
Yeah,
gonna
you know,
do that,
yeah.
arrange to do that,
Yeah.
yeah. I know she's, can do the QPR, but not the mental
Yeah.
health aid, but that's great, yeah, that's great, good start.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
wanna confirm, are you a 501c3?
50119C, we're the only veteran-centric
I see, okay.
nonprofit in the state.
And do you have a local advisory council that you work with?
No.
You're welcome to join ours remotely at any time. So every month we have a local advisory council. And under that umbrella, the local advisory, I guess above us, was the Central Service Area Authority, which I don't know if you've heard about. And so they cover more of a 12-county area. But they are always looking to support vets, and then they do mini grants. And it's usually up to about $2,000. I know it's not a lot, but it's something, you know, Band-Aid over, especially if you're waiting for grants. But you need to be involved with the local advisory council typically. So anyways, we have our meetings the first Tuesday of every month at 11:30, and it's remote on Zoom. And we have actually one of the public health presenters scheduled. I usually schedule those meetings for who's speaking. It's an opioid education coordinator, and also on, he's going to present on Safer Communities Montana, controlling
Sure thing.
weapons, yeah. So I think we'll start there, come here, and then you do a little bit of looking at the Central Service Area Authority. There's a lot of vets who are on that board, and I'm sure they'd be happy to help, so.
But just to add to that, I'm sorry, just to
Go ahead.
clarify, it's a behavioral health local advisory council, so it's not,
That's the focus.
it's focused on behavioral health. And then there's also a suicide prevention coalition that you could be a part of that is a county coalition.
So the
as well.
local advisory council brochures, I brought a bunch in there, so you
Okay.
can.
I just wanted to clarify that.
And we've got everything you brought in, plus we've got an area on our
That's
calendar.
awesome.
It's like this. That's all your pamphlets laid out.
Do you need any posters?
We'll take them.
I
Okay,
can grab them
good,
on my
yeah.
car. Yeah, the more places you put them, the better for sure. And then lastly, just in my previous life, I did do some grant writing support for a veterans group that actually did talk about follow-up care, right, is really building resiliency through really like 2-day, 3-day retreats with them and their families. And I'd be happy to share that information because that's something you could probably think about doing here.
We'd love to be able to do that here. We've also been invited up to Kalispell.
Yeah.
So we see
Yeah,
what
I
we can.
mean, we have such beautiful environment, to use that for healing. It's
Well,
an opportunity.
And our staff is what we have as far as our board, president, vice president. We got Rick Foreman on our board. We got Tina Good and my wife. So 4 of us are vets, and my wife's not, but we all think alike. Our mindset is take care of the vet. And and none of us are on a salary. We don't take any stipends off of anything. So that's how we're able to move so fast right now. And this is 1 year when we started this business, June 1st is when we opened. And with that being said, where we thought we'd be in 3 years, we're there now. And 1 year in, and we're already past what we thought we'd be. And that's why we have to get this done. We got a lot of stuff going on this next week. So we're moving fast.
I'm so impressed.
Very good.
That's, good job. One of the things I really like about coming to Lincoln and Augusta, this is the only time we really get a chance to hear of what's going on in these communities. And to me, this is my favorite part of my job, is coming to Lincoln and Augusta and watching people who are actually, you talk about a community, they are a community. They're what makes this work. People like, Zach and you folks. I mean, it's just, that's why we like to live here, and I'm proud to be a part of the community. As I stated, I would like to be here on Memorial Day with you folks. However, my dad was a veteran. He's buried in Reed Point, and my brother and I, we meet there every Memorial Day and have coffee with our dad. So we all have our traditions. So thank you for
Well, I
what you
came
do.
up here a little over 8 years ago. I thought I'd just come up here, retire, kick back, and do nothing. Then I met a gentleman through the American Legion, and him and I think so much alike about keeping the money here and taking care of the vets in the area. And with what when you got the letter, the Veterans Memorial is for the Blackfoot Valley. And that's what it's about, is taking care of the valley. And we're trying to push everybody to come to that. So we anticipate a pretty good show.
Got posters up in the grocery store?
Pardon?
Do you have posters up in the grocery
Yeah,
store?
everything's going out today.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we're picking them up. We had Roger Day make those.
Okay, all right. Supporting local business, that's good.
And a little bit of background is I'm a retired twice. I was retired Command Master Chief, Navy Seabees. So contingencies are always in my mind, where I'm thinking. And I retired from the state of California as a chief engineer at Portable Development Center, which is a state hospital, as a chief engineer one. Financially, I'm doing great, but I thought I'd just be able to sit back. I've been working harder now than I work.
Retirement is boring. I tried it.
I know, but I got a trailer and I'd like to go fishing and stuff too.
Well, and I've got stuff like that, but this is important work you're doing, and you've got the experience to do it. I suppose I better keep moving along these. Thank you for your efforts and for coming in and talking about it. Any other business that we need to address?
Take my hat, turn it the other way.
Oh, geez, you again?
Yeah, Eric Gould, Lincoln Sewer District. I'm the president of the Lincoln Sewer District. Just a quick update. We stepped into it last year, had a financial ruin going on within the district. Since then, we went from a minus $7,000 a month operating budget to plus $10,000 a month thing. We eliminated a lot of overhead, a lot of personnel issues were removed from the district. So the district is now financially sound moving forward. We've got a lot of maintenance upgrades done within the system. The new one we'll be getting with you for on the next is the upgrades. The system was put in the 80s. A lot of piping and stuff that was done underground was structurally set for back then. Now we've grown. You got homes. I could just use across the street zone. You have 26 lots on the street. The main line is a 4-inch line. So for anybody with engineering, that's only 75 gallons of fluid pushing down. Well, if you've got 24 units in there, there's no way the infrastructure can handle what's going on. We know this is going to be a slow rollout. This is not going to be a quick fix, thing, because you're looking at the entire sewer district in capacity and trying to bring it up. The ponds are not our issue. So the infrastructure on the lift stations and the ponds is good. The ponds will hold 28 million gallons. We'll never run that. We'll never have enough houses in that to ever overrun the infrastructure of the ponds. But the implementation of getting it from the house to the ponds is the infrastructure that we're going to be going. So we will start submitting. I'm going to start coming to the meetings more. I'm sorry it took me a year, but I had a lot of work to get done to get to a point where I can bring you viable information. But yeah, we're going to start looking at the how to do the roads, how to do the repair, so you're not paving a road where I go back and tear it up, 6 months later. So we'll have those agendas and start working with you, because we got to start upgrading the system with the thing, because it's a 30-year life cycle. you know, and that was put in the 80s. This is 2025, you know, I'm well past the survivability of the system.
Do you work with our planning department?
No, we need to.
Okay,
This is the thing, this district is crazy. We are not under Public Works, and we're not under DEQ. How this formality thing worked has been a learning curve to me, because you think you go to somebody and get the answer, and they're like, no, that's your thing. Okay, you know, so I can go do this? Well, no. Well, then, well, okay, if you can't tell me what I can and can't do, how am I supposed to get it done? So yeah, we need to find some gray area, you know, to get this work up here. We are working with DEQ on some reclamation stuff work on the riverside over here, so that'll be done this month. There was some illegal pit digging stuff that was not approved by the board, so that's getting reclamation. That'll be done this year by the 25th. And then after that, we'll get with the Public Works and stuff and start looking at how we can roll out new engineering plans and bring the system up to code, you know, bring it from 80s to 2020s without jeopardizing service, you know, through all the people up here. Other than that, the district's back financially sound. We got a new board. Everybody seems to be on the thing. We got new people working that are certified. So yeah, the League of Sewer District is now a stable and viable entity up here.
Good.
And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you. Chirping.
Tom?
I'd like to recommend that we try to have a report from them at least every other month, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Thank
good. Communication is a fine thing when we're all. So, okay.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric. Any other new business? Okay. The next meeting is the next meeting. The first Friday of June? No, we can't be the first, really? Okay, well, first Friday of June.
It's be the 6th.
6th of June. Oh. Are you invited? You have to be here or we can't do this. The rest, well, yeah, you'll all be here. As long as you don't snore. June 6th, did you say? Or 8th?
6th.
6th, okay. We have now come to the part of the meeting where I'm supposed to say public comment. This is the point where we accept public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda above. I think we already covered all that. Okay. Did you have something? All right. Then, with that in mind, this meeting is adjourned. And thank you for attending.